So welcome very much. We're glad to have you here. Welcome to the Spirit Gathering teleconference. Today is March 15th, 2022. My name is Reverend Dr. Sue Rohweder. Our topic is love as an energy force. And we're so glad you all have joined us. We are recording this call so that people who could not be here tonight can listen in. Please press your phone's mute button or *6 to mute your line to help the line be quiet. And so we'll use the circle format that we normally use, or that seem to be used often on these calls. I think all of you are pretty much familiar with it, aren't you? I can tell you about it if you're not. Okay, I'm going to assume that you are. So let's just take a moment now and to let go of the events of this day and begin to enter a deeper sacred space within ourselves. Take a few deep breaths, letting go of the day. And now let us imagine we are joining together in a circle with a flame of divine light at the center. And imagine a spoke of light from the center of the circle to your heart and for each person on the call tonight or listening in after. And so now we are all connected, sacred heart to sacred heart. And we pause, feeling that connection. And our intention is, let us set our intentions. First of all, I want to state that we stand in and are one with the divine light of the Christ. We stand in and are one with His love and His protection. And into this sacred space, we also invite our family of divine light and our guides and teachers. This just sets our space and defines it for any entity that wants to enter. And we also listen to one another with compassion and curiosity. We ask for what we need and offer what we can. We deepen our connection with one another and the divine. May this sharing serve us, our communities, and the planet. And let's pause for just a moment, feeling the connection to one another and the connection to the divine and the protection of the divine. And so it is. And so tonight I invite us to think of energy, of all the things that we do as healers and moving energy around. And I'd like to invite everyone to talk or think of love as an energy. We often say, or I find myself often saying, I love you, sending you love, sending you prayers, things like that. But let's go a little deeper. Let's think of love as an energy, a force that when we say I love you, we send out. So just take a moment and for yourselves, think about what that is for you. When you say I love you, or you see your cat or your dog, and you feel this incredible energy, and we call it love. Think about that for just a moment. Feel that energy. And so I'm going to offer a few comments, one from Krishna, one from Native American lore, one from the Bible, and also Khalil Gibran, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about your experience of love, your experience of it as an energy. So first of all, let's look at the Bhagavad Gita. If I'm saying that wrong, please tell me. Lord Krishna's quotes on love are, love wins all. The only way you can conquer is through love. And let's just pause and think about that for just a moment. And I'm not going to do a lot of lecture here. It's just, the intention is to facilitate an experience for you, and then we'll talk later, because I'm sure we each will have a totally different experience and reality of love. So just think about, the only way you can conquer me is through love. And then Krishna says, love yourself and love everyone. The key to inner peace is self-awareness. It starts to arise in a person after he compassionately loves himself and everyone around him. The purest form of love has the quality of liberation. It helps one liberate from materialistic and emotional needs. So let's just pause there for a moment. Allow that to settle in and travel through your system, your body. And Krishna says, focus on love, compassion, and devotion. Do everything you have to do, but not with greed, not with ego, not with lust, not with envy, but with love, compassion, humility, and devotion. And so just breathe that in, allowing it to flow through your system. Be generous. As great even the smallest gift offered by devotees in pure love, but even great offerings presented by non-devotees do not please me. That's from Krishna. He regards as great even the smallest gift offered in pure love. But great offerings presented by non-devotees do not please me. And love without expectations. He who has no attachments can really love others, for his love is pure and divine. Just ponder that for just a moment. The energy of that. What energy does that bring to you? Love should set another person in love with us free. Love isn't a contractual relationship of compromise. Pure love. Blessed is a human birth. Even the dwellers in heaven desire this birth. For true knowledge and true and pure love may be attained only by a human being. Human thinking capability is second to fewer beings on earth today. Our human intellect allows us to think and love beyond the capacity of other sentient beings. Our consciousness helps us judge right and wrong and love unconditionally, forgive, carry empathy, and so forth. Blessed is a human birth. Even the dwellers in heaven desire this birth. For true knowledge and true and pure love may be attained only by a human being. And so pause, allowing that thought, that energy to flow through your system. The idea that being born human is a gateway for true knowledge and pure love. Krishna says love is the key. I, dear to the devotees, am attainable only by love and devotion. To be devoted to working, God, or anything else, one needs to love the particular entity. Thus, love is key to devotion to achieve a higher state of consciousness. And so let us just stop and think about that for a few moments. Allowing it to settle in our system, feeling it. Love for the divine. In the epic, one can go beyond their being and become one with the universe. It is only subsequent, after one serves Krishna through devotion with unwavering faith, or serves the divine with unwavering faith. Doing that, one's sin is nullified, and he moves beyond through submission full of love to him, to the divine. By serving the divine with steadfast love, a man or woman goes beyond the physical being. Such a one is fit for union with Brahman. Pause with that for a moment. Love in an action. An action has value only if it is void of love or hate and expectation. Free from attachment, which is done without love or hatred by one who is not desirous of any reward. Love is the ultimate. Love is the highest. Love and devotion that make one forgetful of everything else. We know love is key to the union. It is a force uniting the world itself. And so let's think about that for a moment. The energy of love flowing through the world, uniting, conquering. Love transcends everything in the universe. To reach the divine, one needs to love. Love is such a powerful emotion that helps make a truce with the enemy. Forgive others and keep away from the negative. And so let's just stop for a moment and contemplate. Allow our thoughts to travel along Krishna's counsel on love. Love wins all. Love yourself and love everyone. Focus on love, compassion, and devotion. Be generous. Love without expectations. Pure love. Love is the key. Love for the divine. Love in action. And love is the ultimate. Just take 2 or 3 minutes and allow love to flow into our bodies, breathing it in, allowing it to flow throughout our systems, touching every particle of our being with love. Okay, let's come back. And now let's look at Native Americans. Native Americans traditionally do not assign moral gradient to love or sexuality. A person was judged for their contributions to their tribe and for their character. And so let's think for a moment how we do that in our world today, regardless of our religion or what spiritual path we may follow. Think about the contribution, or think about the importance of contribution. How much importance we give to contribution. In whatever way, giving is giving. And so how do Native Americans express love? Gifts are usually homemade arts and crafts, made from the heart as a token of love, respect, and appreciation. Sometimes you will be approached by someone who says, "I wish to shake your hand." This is a sign of great respect. And in Native American world, I don't know about every tribe, but in general, there is no symbol for love. It is such a difficult symbol to convey. However, the symbols of friendship and harmony are the closest symbols to convey the concept of love. Native American symbols are generally geometric portrayals of celestial bodies and natural phenomena and animal designs. So in the Native American world, love is viewed through the lens of contribution, of respect, of gifts from the heart. So let's just take a few moments allowing love in that way as gifts to flow through our system, that vibration to touch every particle of our being. All right, and now let's move to the Bible. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 5. Many of us have heard this one, I'm sure. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. And in the Song of Solomon, many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot wash it away. So let's just take a moment and think in terms of energy, the energy of patience. If you can, reach out and feel that energy. Feel the energy of kindness. Comparing it to the energy of envy. And knowing that love does not envy or dishonor. Just hold that for a moment. The idea, the energies of patience, of kindness, of compassion. The Bible also talks about 4 loves. And I'm probably going to mispronounce these. The first one is storge, an empathy bond. And feel that energy of empathy. Philia, friend bond. Think of a good friend and the bond you have. Feel that energy. Eros, romantic love. Feel that romance, a time when you may have felt a strong romance, and feel that love, that energy. Agape, unconditional God love. Feel that love. Feel that closeness to the divine. And so as we can see, the energies of love are many. In different ways, we experience love. And so let's take a moment now and discuss if this, how these ideas or concepts have touched you, or if they have. This exploration of love as an energy. And I'm putting down the stick now.
Catherine, picking up the stick, I often think of love that is contagious. If someone is sending love to you, or feelings of love, or the energy of love, that it's contagious, and it's also sent back in a reciprocal kind of way. And some time ago, I was having some issues at my job where I was being bullied a lot. And one of the ways that I dealt with the bullying was that whenever I would see the person who was trying to bully me, or I would see that person trying to bully someone else, I would take my hands and just kind of wave them around and think to myself, waves of love, waves of love. And that's something in relation to what I'm picking up from our lecture tonight. Thank you very much. Putting down the stick.
So, Catherine, you were working with the energy then, and you were capturing love as an energy and spreading it. Is that right?
Yes, and I was also protecting myself from the bad energy coming toward me. And I could see that it really did make a difference in both ways. Putting down the stick.
Okay, and I've put down the stick also.
Veronica, picking up the stick. Asking the love to fill my body and enter and fill every portion. I'm having a bit of a health concern, and it's filled in the area that's under major consideration and change, and it filled it and opened it and relaxed it. And I realized that the fear and concern constricts and pushes out the love, but asking the love to enter pushes out the fear and the constriction. It's a wonderful realization. Putting down the stick.
Wow, thank you, Veronica. Well, I have a story to share. I'll try to make it brief. Years and years ago, when I was studying with Amy Keyes, founding Bishop Amy Keyes, I was studying within myself, and in my meditations and working with my guides and teachers, I was exploring unconditional love, and I decided that I wasn't very loving and I wanted to be more loving. And I was working with some people, and I was coming out of a career where the environment really was not a very loving environment. And I was trying to retrain myself to be more compassionate, more considerate, more loving. So, and I believe any of us can talk to the Christ or our guides and teachers or the Buddha or whoever, and they will talk to us. They will talk back to us. So I was trying to do this unconditional love thing, and I kept getting, I'll just say, slaps. People were pushing me away and didn't want whatever, and so I was talking to Bishop Amy about it, and I was talking about being judgmental, and she very wisely said, well, there's also discernment. And I had to ponder that for a while. And then I was talking to the Christ about this unconditional love thing and these people where I was working and whatever. And he just looked at me and grinned, and he said, you can love them from far away. You don't have to grab them and hug them all or whatever, And I realized that that's exactly what I was trying to do. Maybe not physically, but I was, more or less hassling them, thinking I was showing love or whatever, and why weren't they responding, and why weren't they, whatever. And I had to laugh. He just said, you can love them from far away, And I thought that, I don't know, I always appreciated that, and I have to remind myself sometimes you can send the love out. You don't have to go up and grab them and hold them and hug them and, say things, do things, whatever. You can just love them and be discerning. So I'm putting down the stick. That's my story.
Catherine, picking up the stick. I had some great teacher in school who was talking about love and love thy neighbor and love thy enemy. Love thine enemy was a big one. And she said, you don't have to like them. You just have to love them.
Yes.
I found that really worked. That was very powerful. Putting down the stick.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah. This is Diane. I'll pick up the stick. I think that's very true, is that it's an interesting thing where you can love people and beings even if you don't like them. And that sounds a little conflicted, but it's not really. And I find that very helpful. For some reason, thank you for the variety of readings that you did, Sue, from a variety of cultures and time frames and practices, I guess. And I don't know why I was taken to, maybe you've seen those, I don't know, whales, that the poor things, or dolphins get caught in fishing nets and they're all twisted up and they can't get out and they can't breathe eventually. And then people find that and they get scissors, and the animal understands that, and the look in their eye, and somehow the camera, even through the camera you can see that whale's eyes, and it's just it's pure love of it's just amazing how you can see that in eyes of certainly humans, but of all beings, and dogs, they just, so I just find I, with some reason, was taken to animals, thinking about, how it's through the eyes that it's expressed. And I just think it's quite amazing, and that it's available to, I assume, all sentient beings, but easy to spot in eyes of humans and other beings. So for the moment, I'm complete. Thanks.
Thank you, Diane. I really resonate with that, relate to that. And it's just listening to everybody and the various variety of readings is to me important to recognize there is this energy, a vibration, and the frequencies shift just a little bit for the different things, like the gratitude of the animals, the love exchange between the people freeing the animals, the love exchanged in giving, in my case, sending out love to my coworkers, and the same thing in Catherine's story. But it's there. It exists. And it's just there. And we just have to tap into it, in my opinion. And I'm laying down the stick. Thank you.
Veronica, picking up the stick. Diane, just as you were talking about freeing the animals and how they look at you with love, my cat joined me on the bed and curled up and is resting tightly in my arms, purring, putting down the stick.
Wow.
Aww. Thanks for sharing. That's very sweet.
Catherine, picking up the stick again. C.W. Leadbeater, one of the second generation of Theosophists, had written a lot of things about thought forms and how our thoughts as energy create certain forms. And he did a whole lot of scientific study with vibrations and sound waves, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the books, he took descriptions of thought forms that psychic people, clairvoyant people had given him, and had images made up in relation to their thoughts sending and receiving. And colors had certain meanings. It's very complicated. But there's one picture in the thought form book where they're showing the thought form described for affection, pure affection, and it's positioned next to the thought form of a gently purring cat. And the human and the cat thought forms are so similar, and the colors are so similar, except the human thought form is a little more detailed. So gently purring cat and vague, pure affection are similar. Putting down the stick.
Wow.
Veronica, picking up the stick. I was listening to Bob Roth on the Transcendental Meditation line, and he did a 7-minute lecture on cats, and that the human brain and the cat brain are the closest in the animal kingdom. We are just a small difference, but the cat brain and the human brain are almost identical. Putting down the stick.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Can you hear that purr?
Yes. I caught just a split second. Yeah, it's I'm always amazed by my dogs at how sensitive they are, and what they sense, what they feel. And I keep talking and failing to say I'm picking up the stick, so I apologize. I'm laying down the stick now.
This is Diane. I'll pick up the stick. I was at a retreat this last weekend in Virginia, north of Charlottesville, and it was this beautiful, natural, lots of trails and a river, and just beautiful for walking and being in retreat. And it's spring, and the equinox is coming soon, and so there's this wild weather of, like 60 one day and beautiful, and the next day it was just so cold with 40-mile-an-hour winds, and wind chills were in the teens, and it was snowing, and it was very beautiful in its own way. But I always, again, it's back to nature. I marvel at, there were a lot of daffodils up already, and that the consciousness or God or whatever entity that has created all these life forms and stuff is done with love and some level of understanding for that particular being. So these daffodils, of course, to survive, know just what to do, and those little heads bend over and almost touch the ground. But I hadn't seen these variety of daffodils had, and the stem is completely bent. But these daffodils are, of course, yellow, but when they were completely turned over, there was a little tip of a white triangle, skinny little thin piece of petal that was on every piece, like it made like a 5-star. It was just amazing. Not all of them had it, but this one cluster did. And I just marvel at that, like, we exist and all these other beings exist, and that it's all created with this amazing care and love and understanding, for survival and beauty and beingness, just beingness. So I'm complete in putting down the stick.
Thank you. Anyone else care to share?
Veronica, picking up the stick. I had a very rough year last year, and as the year ended, I realized that there was a plant that was 40 years old and had been called Methuselah by his former person. And as this person had transitioned the plants would be alone. And I determined to take the plants. But it took a while to be able to rescue him. Her. Her name was Methuselah until she came to my house and became Frances. And Frances promptly fell apart in my house. I put her in the middle of the floor on a tarp, and I promptly overattended, became the overattending parent. And this child rebelled and argued and grieved its old life. And within this month, it has completely revived itself with one tremendous pod waiting to burst. It's an amaryllis waiting to burst. Everything on it had died. Everything had died, and I had removed it. But I put it in the middle of the floor, and I meditate every morning with Frances. And my cat Teddy with the meditation, and my Marty sits with the meditation. And I put my hands on every leaf and tell her how beautiful she is. And she's 2 feet tall, and she's growing new bulbs. And every day there is a new growth, or maybe once every 5 days there's a brand new growth. And I'm celebrating rebirth and watching love nearly kill her. But the intention was understood. I also understand the ruthlessness of nature, how one leaf will come in and take over, and another leaf will hide in it and press against it until it's ready to burst forth, and then it pushes the other leaf aside, screaming, "I'm here, I'm here." And I'm learning character. I'm learning the love of life from Frances. And every day, my animals and I grow deeper in our love for each other and love for ourselves through the lessons taught by a plant that unquestionably loves itself, loves its life, and keeps reaching for more life, putting down the stick.
Wow, thank you.
Maybe Frances loves you too.
Mm-hmm. Picking up the stick just briefly reminds me of a book that was written, I think, in the 70s, and it was, I think it was touted as, I don't know if it is, but it was touted as the first exploration into plants. And I think it was called The True Life of Plants, but it was the first time that at least anybody published findings about plants and feelings and how plants respond to energies like love, like even fear. But it's kind of an amazing book, I thought. Anyway, putting down the stick. Did someone want to comment, or was that okay? Just an echo, I guess. It is 24 minutes after the hour, and I'm wondering, are there any other comments before we move towards close?
I'm complete. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank everybody for sharing, and I got a lot out of it, and this was the first offering like this for me, and I hope it worked for you. So we will move towards closing this conference then. Thank you all for joining us for this Spirit Gathering conference and teleconference, and I'm also thanking those who may dial in to listening to the recording. This call may be archived as an tzaddi.org on. Anyway, it's going to be archived at tzaddi.org. Phone access to the recording of this call is available until next month's call. For playback of the recording, dial 712-432-1085, access code 990322#. And we hope you'll join us for our next Spirit Gathering on Tuesday, April 19th. These calls are hosted by Tzaddi, an international metaphysical organization founded in California in 1964. And let me spell Tzaddi for you, Tzaddi. Tzaddi welcomes, nurtures, and supports people in celebrating and more directly experiencing their relationship with the loving presence of the divine. Our programs are open to people of any race, color, or national or ethnic origin. Visit www.tzaddi.org to learn more, including a full calendar of events hosted by Tzaddi members. Donations of any amount to support Tzaddi's functions are gladly accepted via the donation button available on every page at tzaddi.org or by sending funds via PayPal to donations@tzaddi.org. We will close now with thanks and a blessing. Thanks to the Tzaddi founders, Amy Keys and Dorothy Blackmere. Thanks to all of you who have been a part of our community tonight. And thanks to the Divine who supports us always, even when we are not aware of it. Is there anyone here that would like to give a closing blessing? Well, I will offer this as a blessing. We ask that all of the people here and those who listen, we ask for a blessing for them in their lives. We ask for a blessing for our planet and especially for the people in Ukraine and their families. We ask for blessing for wisdom from our leaders and the leaders involved in what is happening in our world. And so with that, we will close. Thank you again for coming, and good night, everybody.